After what feels like waiting forever, we finally got an announcement trailer to the Breath of the Wild sequel. Let's take a look. All right, they said one last announcement. Please let it be Zelda. Oh! I think it is Zelda. Please be Breath of the Wild sequel. We need a release date. Okay, this is definitely the sequel. You can tell from the music. Okay, there's Zelda. Oh, yes! Yes! Oh, it is the sequel. Oh, guys, look how expansive this looks. You're in the sky. Please, if it's like air and land, that's gonna be insane. Oh my gosh. The Legend of Zelda. Oh, we got a name! Tears of the Kingdom. Yes! The Legend of Zelda sequel. May 12th. All right. All right, what's going on, guys? It finally happened after what feels like waiting forever to one of my favorite Zelda games of all time. Got a delay of the Breath of the Wild sequel earlier this year, and people were devastated. I was almost fully anticipating that this game was going to come out, you know, sometime in November of this year, but they pushed it back 2023, and we haven't heard a peep since then. Today is a special day because we finally got a revealed trailer for the game. We got an official title, and most importantly, we got an announced date, and that is something. I'd say that in terms of the entire Nintendo Direct, it was okay. It featured some games that I was excited about, but I think everybody was really looking for some more information about Breath of the Wild. We have not seen anything in the light of gameplay yet for this game. You know, classic Nintendo style, they really don't tell us a lot, and I think maybe, you know, there'll be a special Direct probably 3 months before the game comes out, sometime then, talking about, you know, specifics of the game, combat, exploration, things like that. But for now, it seems like they're still keeping it close to the chest, but at least we got a little bit of information that can give us a bit of respite. We can rest easy now, knowing that there is a release date on the horizon. So I wanted to go over this, I wanted to go over this trailer, the little bit that was shown, and kind of theorize with you guys what we might be expecting, how this sequel could be different than the original, and so on and so forth. So let's just jump into it. Obviously, at the beginning, we see some of the classic, you know, hieroglyphs that we've, you know, come to know from the Breath of the Wild sequel. I guess it showcases some of what we can experience in the game, some of the world, you know, some of the monsters that obviously will be coming back. I hope that there's going to be new monsters in this game. I'm not exactly sure who this is, some sort of deity or god, maybe a bigger entity inside this game, the sequel. I'm assuming, like, don't we always fight Ganon? Is that a thing? I haven't played every single Legend of Zelda game, but I always imagine that you just fought Ganon or some form of him. So this might not be an enemy at all. It could be a god or deity that helps us throughout the game, guides us, maybe gives us powers. Obviously, you'll see here, if we pause it right here, we can see that there is, it clearly looks like Zelda. Potentially Zelda is in distress. That possibly could be what this is alluding to. You know, Zelda's always kind of finds herself in a pickle, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is, you know, another one of those situations where Link has to muster up his strength and go out and save the princess. I don't know where Link is going to fall into this. I'm sure it's not going to be something like what happened in Breath of the Wild. It's probably going to be a continuation, because as you know, in Breath of the Wild, Link himself is he's been, you know, kind of in a coma for hundreds of years, I think, and he finally comes out and he has to get his powers back. I'm hoping that we start off with more abilities in this game than we did in the first time, and maybe they throw in some new abilities, new exploration. I don't know. I'm just excited. Obviously, we're just theorizing right now as to what potentially could happen. And then we see what I believe to be Zelda holding an orb. of some kind. Link opens up the doors. It very much from the beginning of this, you can tell that they're sticking with the traditional play style, the traditional style of the game, you know, which I'm okay with. I loved the OG look of Breath of the Wild. It kind of gives me a little bit of Wind Waker vibes a little bit too at some points, but very much sticking with the traditional style. The movement looks very similar. Link looks dope as ever. I love this sequence right here. This is something that we saw, I think, in the first E3 2021 reveal of the game, and I think we're seeing it here once again, where Link, in the beginning when we got that very small teaser, Link hops off of this very tall building and starts to float down, and I'm hoping that the idea that I'm getting is that we're going to have a completely new explorative kind of way to experience the world in this game, and it's not gonna just be one plane. I'm hoping and optimistic that we're going to be able to be in the air. There's going to be maybe a village in the air or areas in the sky that we're able to visit and explore, and then you're going to be able to just jump down and cruise to some of the areas on the ground. That will be absolutely insane, and you can tell that by the jump. But even before he makes this jump, guys, check this out. Look how much space that is. Like, there's a whole civilization out there, a whole area for us to explore in the air. And when he jumps down, you can see, just as he passes through the clouds, that it looks to be an entire area down below. So that's why, you know, at least that's my theory, that we're going to be able to explore on land and in the air as well, a whole area up above. Kind of gives me BioShock Infinite vibes. If you guys have played that game before, you know that there's a whole city in the sky. And so moving on from there, it looks like this might be the mechanism that takes us up to some of these areas. But then from there, they go on to show some of the elemental diversity and variations in this game, i.e. looks like some frosty areas. Now, this also seemingly confirms that we potentially will be able to climb when it snows or when it's wet. I don't remember in Breath of the Wild, now forgive me if I'm wrong in this, but in Breath of the Wild 1, I don't think you could climb when it snowed or when it rained. Or maybe it was just the rain, but it's obviously snowing there. He can climb, again, getting an even bigger, an even greater look at the vastness of this. Now, when I first saw this trailer, I wasn't exactly sure what this was. I thought it was potentially a different game because we never got an official title for the sequel to Breath of the Wild. Stylistically, it looked very much like Breath of the Wild, so I was assuming at first glance that it was the sequel. But when we got the title, I was like, wait, I thought the sequel was called Breath of the Wild 2. And I think that was just man-made. I think people were just calling it Breath of the Wild 2 because they knew it was a sequel. But yeah, from here, you get a real good image of some of these areas. And I think not only that, but we got to talk about the glider, right? We get a glider in this game. Now, this is definitely an advancement from what we got in the first game. We got the little paraglider that really just allowed us to skirt down to certain areas, and that was fine. You know, and it fully allowed us to climb as high as we wanted to, and we could jump down and just kind of paraglide, assuming you had enough stamina to really explore and get a nice aerial view of some of these different locations that maybe you hadn't explored before. But this game seems to be taking it to 11, where now we get a full glider that is hopefully going to allow us to just coast from wherever we want to go. That is going to be insane. Now, if this game is what I'm expecting it to be, and hopefully, you know, a much larger scale than the original, we can fully expect the glider is going to be very helpful in traversing this wide open landscape. And I think that's pretty much it. That is all that we get from this trailer. We get obviously the logo for The Legend of Zelda. We then get the title, Tears of the Kingdom. And that's what they leave us with. Obviously, you know, like I said, Nintendo is not very well known for divulging a lot of information before they're fully ready, which is something I kind of respect about Nintendo. They don't really like to put out an unfinished product. So, you know, my hope is that for this game, we get more information probably at the beginning of next year, you know, as they start to you know, get hype for the release of this game. I really hope that there's not another release you know, hesitation or delay. But I like I said, with Nintendo's fashion, I don't think they would give us a release date if they weren't pretty sure that they could meet the window. You know, I think before we got 2022, and then they were like, we don't really think it's going to happen. And so, yeah, we got a release date for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I'm very excited about this. I cannot wait to see how this game advances on what was already a relatively perfect Zelda game. The only thing that I really hope is that we get better dungeons. We had so many dungeons or little puzzle rooms in the last game. I hope that there's less of them and that they're more intricate, or even if they have the same amount, I just hope that they're more entertaining than what we got before. I'd love some time trials. I'd love to even see some maybe combat things. There was only a few of them scattered around the world, but it would be cool to get some different combat things. We only could use certain weapons or something like that. I don't know. I'm hoping that there's just more variety in them. But that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Let me know in the comments section. Are you excited about this? What are you most excited about? Was it the release date? Was it the title? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm very excited to share in this hype with you guys. And so yeah, don't be afraid to sound off down there and like the video if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel. But until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're safe. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.